Hello, all of you, and welcome to yet another session of Fundamental Unit of Life. This is class 9th Biology, chapter 5, which is Fundamental Unit of Life, that is cells. And today we are going to do the most important questions of Fundamental Unit of Life, which are most frequent. That means they always come in the exam. Teachers always give you these questions. So those questions we are going to do today. So without any further ado, let's get started. So here is our chapter that is the fundamental unit of life. And what is the fundamental unit of life? First thing, tell me. Yes, the fundamental unit of life is nothing but cells. We all are made up of cells. We all are composed of cells. And the cells are the basic structural and functional unit of our lives. And we all are composed of cells. So we are going to solve all the important questions that can be asked in your exam. So let's get started. First question, define cell. Very, very easy question. What is a cell? This is like a cell, I would say. Oh, wait. Yes. Cell would be like something like this. And here are the organelles. But if we look with the help of a microscope, three organelles we can see. One is the cell membrane. We can see the cell membrane, we can see the nucleus, and we can see the cytoplasm. These are the three prominent things which we can observe under a microscope. If our microscope is not electron microscope, okay, then we can observe these three things. So then what is a cell? This is the next question. See, it is the basic structural, sorry, one minute. Basic structural and functional unit of life. Okay, like they are the building blocks. Like buildings is made up of the different blocks. So we are made up of cells. Okay, so they are the fundamental unit of life. Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. In Latin, cell means small compartments. Okay, they are very, very small. And together they form tissues. Okay, let me make that table if you would like to see. First, we have cells. Acha, wait. Cells. Then with cells, tissues. Then tissues form organs. And finally, the organs form organism. So we can say that cell is the fundamental, this is the basic, this is the base for tissues, organs, and organism. Isn't it? If we just see here, cell is the base for tissues, organs, and organism. Sorry. That means we all are composed of cells. Question number 2, name the scientist who discovered cell. Very easy. Who discovered? Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke was the scientist who discovered cells. But one thing you will see that Robert Hooke discovered dead cells. Okay, Robert Hooke discovered dead cells of cork. Cork, you understand that bark, very old bark, when it gets, you can say very old, then it becomes very stiff. Okay, because of the presence of suberin. Yes, suberin thickened cell walls with suberin. Okay, the cell walls are thickened of the cork with suberin, which makes it stiff and which protects it. Main function is protection. Yes. So Robert Hooke in 1665, sorry, 1 minute. Yes. In 1665, he discovered the cell, dead cells of cork. And then who discovered the living cell? Living cells was discovered by Leeuwenhoek. Okay, Anthony van Leeuwenhoek. A slice of cork under his microscope, thin slice of cork like this, somewhat like this. So he saw small compartments. and then he named those compartments as cells. Question number, next question, sorry. Name the cells which do not possess a well-defined nucleus. These cells are primitive. What does it mean? Wait, let me read it. Name the cells which do not possess a well-defined nucleus. These cells are primitive without having membrane-bound organelles. So which are those type of cells? Yes, they are the prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells are the cells which do not. Yes, so they are prokaryotic cells which do not have a well-defined nuclear region. They have like the structure is somewhat like, so they have some fluid known as nucleoid. Okay. And as they do not have a well-defined nuclear region, the nucleus is not visible, as well as membrane-bound organelles are absent. These organelles are absent, and that's why the problem with this is that the organelles are also not visible. Like an example we can take of bacteria. Okay, it is a prokaryotic cell. That means it doesn't have a primitive nucleus, right? Prokaryotic cells, and example is bacteria. The nucleoid, as I talked about, and amoeba and paramecium are unicellular, but they are eukaryotic. Their nucleus is visible. See, if we just talk about what happened. Yes. So if we just talk about amoeba, 1 second. Yes. Suppose this is the amoeba, but it has a nucleus, isn't it? It is eukaryote. It is a eukaryote because it has a well-defined nuclear region. That's why nucleus is visible. Next question, if the plasma membrane of a cell is ruptured, what will happen to the cell? See, these type of questions can be asked for cell organelles as well. If this cell organelle wouldn't be there, if this cell organelle wouldn't be there, then what would happen to the cell? First of all, we should understand the function of that particular cell organelle. That what function it performs, that because of its absence, the cell will have to suffer. What is the function? So if we talk about plasma membrane, in an animal cell, it is the outermost covering. And it is semi-permeable, yes. And in a plant cell, you can see that cell wall is the outermost covering and cell membrane is after that. Okay. So what is the function of it? First thing, exchange of materials outside and inside the cell. It allows selected materials to enter or exit the cell. That's why it is called as selectively permeable membrane. What is it called? It is called as selectively, or you can say semi permeable. 1 minute. Membrane. Because it allows the entry and exit of only limited, or we can say certain substances in and out of the cell. Clear? So whatever substance has to enter the cell, it has to pass through the plasma membrane. Okay, and plasma membrane is here as I talked. Okay. So if it is ruptured means we can say broken, or we can say if it wouldn't be there, then what would happen to the cell? Let's see. It makes a boundary around the cell content. If it is ruptured, the entire cell content, cytoplasm, cell organelles will be lost and cell will die. How? See, it is like, suppose this is the external environment. Okay. This is the external environment. This is the cell, plasma membrane. This is the nucleus and the cell organelles, let's say. So if this plasma membrane has been ruptured, then only they are left. So without it, they are not going to get the boundary. They are not going to get the protection. So they will lose. They will float anywhere. And hence the cell will die. The cell will die. Please learn this. If Golgi apparatus is not there, if ER is not there, then what will happen? If Golgi apparatus is not there, then who will do the transportation job? Who will do the modification job, isn't it? How will the proteins and lipids transported to different parts of the cell, isn't it? So these functions we need to remember. Now, a very, very important question of 1 mark. You can say it is a fixed question. I'm marking the star. It is a fixed question. Always it is asked. Name the two cell organelles having their own genetic material. Mitochondria. Okay. And we know mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell because it generates the energy currency, which is ATP. Energy in it releases the energy in the form of ATP molecules. Okay, with the help of cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is because of mitochondria, and that energy is required for different chemical activities. We all perform in our body chemical activities, so that energy required is given by mitochondria. And second is plastid. See, basically, plastid gives the color. Generally, children get confused that what is the function. Basically, colors like to the flowers, and chloroplast gives green color because it has the pigment called as chlorophyll, which is useful in photosynthesis, isn't it? So these are interrelated to each other. Okay. So these two have their own genetic material. That means they have their own DNA and ribosomes. What does genetic material mean? DNA and ribosomes. DNA contains genes. Ribosomes are for that protein synthesis and all for the energy and reproduction. Clear? So DNA and ribosomes, they are having their own, and they do not depend on the nucleus for the instructions. They do not depend on the nucleus for the instructions. Yes, mitochondria and plastids. What is the different type of cells on the basis of nuclear material found inside? See, this is a, you can say, tricky question because of 2 marks, quite tricky. It is saying that different types of cells on the basis of nuclear material. That means inside, if the nuclear material is present or if it is not clearly present. Definitely it is going to be prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Okay, this is your answer. Prokaryotic, eukaryotic. Next question, name the organelle which is called kitchen of the cell. Now, if we just try to understand kitchen, what do we do in the kitchen? We make food. If anybody would go to the kitchen, that person would make food. So, which organelle makes food? Definitely chloroplast. Chloroplast is a type of plastid. It is green in color, has a pigment called as chlorophyll, which conducts photosynthesis in the presence of sunlight. Yes. And with the help of photosynthesis, plants make their food. Right. So kitchen of the cell is chloroplast. If you'll write plastid, then maybe your answer can be incorrect because plastid has like leucoplast, it stores fats like this. There are many, many organelles, isn't it? In plastid, there are many other subtypes also. So you should write chloroplast. You should specify the answer, right? You should always specify the answer. Powerhouse of the cell is mitochondria. And we know, I just now I told you why is it the powerhouse of the cell? Okay, because it releases energy in the form of ATP molecules, right? Energy currency in the form of ATP molecules. What are eukaryotic cells? The cells which are advanced and possess a well-defined nucleus are called as eukaryotic cells. Membrane-bound organelles like chloroplast, mitochondria, Golgi bodies, etc. are present. The cells are further divided into plant and animal cells. Eukaryotic, U means true. That means they have a true nucleus. The nucleus is visible because of nuclear membrane. This is the plasma membrane. This is the cytoplasm. This is the nuclear membrane. This is the nucleus. Right. So if the nuclear membrane is not present, the nucleus won't be visible. It won't be clearly visible. And eukaryotic organisms, these cells have their own nuclear membrane. And that's why they have a well-defined nucleus. Examples are plant cells, animal cells, all have, we have like humans, we all have, we all are made up of eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic opposite, which do not possess a well-defined nucleus, okay, without having membrane-bound organelles. And eukaryotic cells have membrane-bound organelles, right? Next question, give an example of prokaryotic organisms. Prokaryotic organisms, what can you write? You can write bacteria. Okay, 1 minute. Acha, you can write bacteria. Eukaryotic organisms, you can write humans. You can write animals. Each will be of half mark, okay? Half, 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 half. You can do. Yes. Then unicellular organisms, meaning only one cell, made up of one cell. It is based on the number of cells. So we have amoeba. In amoeba, only one cell is present, and it obtains its food by the process of endocytosis when it forms pseudopodia, false feet. We must have read in nutrition and amoeba. You all have read, no? Acha, okay. Unicellular organism, amoeba, multicellular organism. Again, we can write humans, animals. So these are the examples, right? Bacteria, blue-green algae, they are prokaryotic. Humans, plants, amoeba, yeast, mango tree, tiger. They are like this. You can easily write down the examples. Very easy question. Why is virus an exception to cell theory? See, first read the question properly. Here we are talking about virus and cell theory. So first of all, you should know what is cell theory. What cell theory states, that you should know, first point. So cell theory has 3 points. The 3 points are that first point, that all plants and animals are made up of cells. Then cell is the basic unit of life, and all cells arise from pre-existing cells. So what is the problem in virus? Let's try to understand this. Virus do not have any membrane and therefore do not show any characteristics of life until and unless they enter a living organism and utilize their cell machinery to increase their number. So cell theory is not true for virus. See, what do virus do? That first thing, they are the link between living and non-living. Why is it so? The reason is that, suppose if they do not get a host means any, you can say, organism, then they are non-living. But as soon as they get a host, they enter a host or living organism, they start multiplying and they use the host machinery, isn't it? And that's why they become living. That's why cell theory is not applicable for them, and they do not have any membrane also, and do not show any characteristics of life. Okay, they do not possess any characteristics of life. That's why they are, the cell theory is not true for virus. Differentiate between prokaryotic, eukaryotic. This is a fixed question. Prokaryotic, eukaryotic, fixed question, like I would say fixed. You can read it. See, characteristic prokaryotic and eukaryotic. So size, you can say generally small, generally large. Nucleus absent, yes, present. Chromosome, single chromosome prokaryotic cells, more than one. Nucleolus absent, present. Membrane bound organisms absent, present. Cell division by fission or budding and by mitotic, meiotic. That means the two processes that we have learned, mitosis and meiosis. Okay, sorry, and meiosis. And they fission or budding, like amoeba. It how does it divides? By binary fission. By one amoeba becomes two. Okay, divides into two daughter cells. So this you have to learn. Please, 1 second, just please learn this. It is very important. Okay, size, you have to remember. Nucleus, main is nucleus. Okay, Then chromosome, it has one. Next question, cell is called structural and functional unit of life. Justify. 3-marker question, very important question. You should know the answer and not so difficult as well. See, cell is called structural and functional unit of life. That means it is making the structure of our body. Like cells make tissues, tissues make organs, and organs make organism. So cell acts as a base. Like we are made up of cells, so cell is a base for us, and it is making our structure. Our body is composed of cells. That means it is our structure. Then if we talk about the functions, then cell is the small cell is capable for performing all the life functions. Okay, it is capable for performing all the life functions. Clear? Now let's read the exact answer. 1 minute. Yes. Each cell, let me change the color. Each cell acquires a distinct structure and function due to the organization of the membranes and organelles in a specific way. And in a cell, the organelles are present. You should know. The membrane-bound structures in a cell are called as organelles. Therefore, each type of cell has a basic, let me use the laser pointer. Therefore, each type of cell has a basic structural organization. This organization helps different cells to perform certain basic functions like respiration, food intake, excretion of waste material, etc. So they are capable for performing all the functions. Clear? That's why they are the structural, functional, fundamental, basic unit of life. Draw a well-labeled diagram of plant cell. You can see here I've drawn these points. You have to remember, okay? You need to draw a very good diagram for the cell. Okay, so this will be your diagram. In this manner, you can easily do this. See, this is the plant cell. See, in a plant cell, we have a very large vacuole. Okay, this is your vacuole. Because plants need storage and they cannot make their food anytime. They need sunlight, they need other things also. That means at the night they cannot make, so they need storage. What is the role of vacuoles? They are for storage purpose, isn't it? Vacuoles store food. Then this is the cytoplasm, okay? Then we have nucleus at the corner. Remember, nucleus is at the corner. Yeah. Sorry, this is the nucleus. Okay. Then we have different organelles. You need to mark certain organelles, like the important ones. ER, you should know. You should know plastids. How is it? ER, where is the ER? Yeah, something like that. Okay, something like this. You can make the ER. Plastid cell wall is necessary. Okay, cell membrane, you need to mark. This is the cell wall. This is the cell membrane. That is plastid only. And the Golgi apparatus, you need to mark. And mitochondria, ribosomes, and all. You can easily mark. Last question of the day. What is the structure and function of vacuole? Just now I told you. Structure and function. Vacuoles are like this, and they occupy 50 to 90% of the volume in a plant cell. They occupy, and there is a specific reason as well. Because like we humans, whenever we are hungry, we can walk. Plants are stationary, they cannot walk also, and they are autotrophic. We are heterotrophic, we are dependent on our surroundings. Plants have to make their own food. So this is one of the reason. And as during the night, sun is not available, sun is not present, so they cannot perform photosynthesis. So how will they synthesize their own food? They need storage. They need storage of food. That's why one thing. And structure, you can see here. Vacuoles are membrane-bound spaces form sac which stores water, glycogen, and protein. What do they store? Water, glycogen, protein. When plants, vacuoles are large, occupying almost all of the volume of the cell. It acquires central position of the cell, pushing other cell organelles towards the boundary. In animals, vacuoles are small and temporary because animals are not autotrophic. They don't have to make their own food. Then they will not need the vacuoles. The vacuole is filled with a watery solution rich in sugars, amino acids, protein, and metabolic waste. So see, watery solution, and this solution is called as cell sap. Okay, this liquid in the vacuoles is called as cell sap, right? So sugars, amino acid, protein, metabolic waste. Sugar, amino acid, protein, metabolic waste. This is the structure, okay? Now function, helps in maintaining osmotic pressure in the cell. Yes. Store toxic metabolic byproducts and products and plants, provides turgidity to the plant cell. These three: first osmotic pressure, maintaining the osmotic pressure, then storing toxic metabolic byproducts and products and plants, and providing turgidity to the cell. So with this, we have completed our session. I hope you enjoyed, and we have discussed all the important questions from this. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and bye. I hope you enjoyed. We'll meet you soon.